You know, I gotta do it.
What?
We gotta do it.
What?
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
I'm not inviting this demon into our home.
Yeah, so that happened. Lindsey prevented the big green-haired hell demon from popping up in my house, and yeah, here we are. We're talking about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, which just came out. We saw it yesterday, I think, at this point in recording. Yeah, like, I had to bring her on because she's a big Tim Burton fan. I mean, were you fired up to see this, Lindsey?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Actually, I lied.
No.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Originally, no, because why is there another sequel many years later?
We get enough legacy sequels as it is. And this is just another in a long line that didn't need to happen. But you know what? Damn it, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice was a lot of fun.
It was actually pretty good.
It was a lot of fun. Of course, directed by Tim Burton. You got Michael Keaton in here reprising his role as the big hell demon himself. 73 years old, by the way, and he's still kicking it. He's killing it. Winona Ryder is here. You have Jenna Ortega. Willem Dafoe is here.
Music is done by Danny Elfman, and if you know that within the first 2 seconds of hearing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, those opening credits hit, and I looked at Lindsey. I'm like, I wonder if this music is Elfman. I wonder if Jack Skellington did this music. And he
was
did.
Only the singing voice of Jack Skellington. He was not the talking voice of Jack Skellington.
He's still kind of Jack Skellington, though. He's half of Jack Skellington's essence. So here we get 3 generations of the Dietz family returning home to Winter River after an unexpected family tragedy. I.e. because Jeffrey Jones is kind of a scumbag who deserves everything that's coming to him, they killed his character off. Lydia, once again played by Winona Ryder, is still haunted by Beetlejuice, and her life soon gets turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, discovers a mysterious portal to the afterlife. And when someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, the mischievous demon gleefully returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. Or, as I tried to demonstrate by summoning Beetlejuice into my house, yeah, that's how you get him into your house. You call his name 3 times, and he appears out of nowhere. You should try it when you get home. Or try it if you're just sitting around.
Or don't.
I mean, you could. You could. I hear it's a lot of fun.
Or don't.
Or he's just going to try and arrange some really demented wedding ceremony.
To be fair, I haven't really seen the trailers. I think I saw 1. I don't know if there were more released. I have seen a trailer once. I think it was like a pretty full length. Not a 2-3 minute trailer, but like not 30 seconds. So I saw a pretty good clip of it. But I wasn't excited originally. I knew I had to see it because I'm a Tim Burton fan. I like Beetlejuice, love the musical, but
oh, the musical is so underrated. That soundtrack slaps. We were listening to it on the way to the theater. If you haven't seen the staged version of Beetlejuice, it is surprisingly a lot of fun. You should check it out if you haven't already.
But I did not anticipate enjoying the film. I thought it would be fine to watch. I know it was Tim Burton, so I knew there was stuff I'd like about it. And I enjoy the actors as well, so I knew that it would have good acting in it. But I went in with the mindset of, why is this movie being made? Why am I here watching this years later? But I came out going, this movie could stand alone as its own movie.
Totally.
It was pretty good, especially for a sequel that's taking place years later, because I think it's taking place close to now time. Yeah, no,
it feels like it's a sequel that takes place in God's year 2024 as opposed to when the original came out, which I believe was 88, 87, I don't know. But yeah, this one was very surprisingly, it was very enjoyable for sure. Now, if you are a fan of Tim Burton, you cannot miss this, because even though this man has been busy as hell doing the Wednesday show on Netflix, also starring Jenna Ortega, this is the most Tim Burton movie that you've seen in quite some time. He gets to flex everything that we know him for, like crazy visuals, really creative production design, really, really killer makeup. Like, I honestly, like, again, Beetlejuice looks so damn great. Once again, Michael Keaton, his voice and his mannerisms. It's kind of endearing watching him. Like,
it was honestly as if no time had passed for Beetlejuice.
No.
Because one of thing comes with makeup is obviously makeup, you can change your appearance completely. So I know they weren't trying to make Beetlejuice age, because Beetlejuice doesn't age anymore. He's just a demon who's 600 years old.
Yeah.
But he's more than 600. But he looked exactly the same as he would have in the first movie. Obviously, it's probably a little bit more tuned to today. So I noticed a couple things that I didn't notice in the beginning, just with how detailed it was, because things evolve. But it was really cool to see it because it felt like the same old Beetlejuice, which obviously helped having the same actor come back. But there honestly didn't feel like there's any change with that character.
You definitely feel a lot has changed in Winter River since the events of the original Beetlejuice. Like, for example, Lydia, once again, Winona Ryder, really freaking great in this. And I know that she has grown considerably since the original Beetlejuice. She's known for playing Joyce in Stranger Things now. She's really freaking great in that show. And Lydia is, like, when you come across her, she's haunted. She's not just haunted by the demons of her past, but she's kind of using it, like, not as a coping mechanism, but almost as a career path, in a sense, because she has a fun gimmick of being this podcast host, where she's talking about, like, paranormal activity and what have you.
That was unexpected and a little weird for me, but towards the end, it made more sense and it played out. In the beginning, it's like, what's the point of this? Why not just have her be living her life with haunting ghosts or talking to ghosts? But it made sense, especially with the storyline connecting to her daughter and things. But
yeah,
it was unexpected, a little weird for me personally, but it made sense throughout it, and it was still cool to see the same personality in Lydia.
I feel like, honestly, one of my biggest nitpicks with the film right off the bat isn't necessarily Jenna Ortega's performance, because I recognize that she is one of the biggest, brightest rising stars in the world right now. Like 25, 30 million some odd TikTok followers, I think, right now. Like, she is, like, she's a name to watch out for, clearly. But her character, Astrid, I didn't really find all that much appealing or interesting or new about her upon the first watch, just because it feels like, to me, I've seen the dynamic between her and her mother done way better in other movies in the past. I've seen this character, this rebellious teenager. I have seen this girl before. And Tim Burton clearly enjoys working with her, you know, so, like, totally understandable why he cast her in this role. And I think she's solid in it, but the script really didn't do much for me in terms of, like, really enjoying the character thoroughly as I probably should have. But, I mean, besides that, supporting cast, Catherine O'Hara is hilarious in this, by the way. She might have stolen the entire movie for me as Delia, and she's funny in the original Beetlejuice. I think she's even funnier here. I don't know if that has to do with her being on Schitt's Creek or what have you, but yeah, it was, she was really something else here.
I think it was really cool to see all these original actors come back, and I do think Jenna Ortega was a really good choice for the role. But I also agree that her character in itself was not, as you would expect a new character, you wouldn't really expect little.
No.
You would expect more from a character who just appears, like, especially being a daughter, a third generation that comes into the picture. It's not just a best friend of the character. But there just wasn't much to her character. Towards the end, you could kind of see her, like, evolve is the wrong word. Just see the different points of her and see how she connects to the story towards the end. Towards the beginning, it just kind of felt like, I don't know, your average teenage daughter in the world, and it didn't really feel like she was gonna be a part of the story. But then she was a part of the story, but there wasn't too much to her necessarily.
Kind of felt to me like the script was going through the motions with her in a lot of cases, which is ironic considering that I'll talk about the script again later. But, I mean, you have some really great new characters in here with some really awesome production elements. The character of Dolores, whose actress's name escapes me right now, and I apologize. Her introduction with the staple gun, her putting herself back together, was so macabre and just wonderful to look at. Very Tim Burton-esque, for sure. Oh, yeah. Willem Dafoe, I love that man, and how he looks, and how he's like this washed-up movie star, and how you, like, see half of his brain peeking out. It's just really cool. And he really hams this part home to, like, no end. He's so freaking wonderful to watch.
Which is interesting, because originally he's just like a side character that kind of appears and disappears, appears and disappears, but he still connects to the story, and he has his own storyline that just continues. And it's kind of like a comedic relief in the sense, even though it's not this huge dramatic movie. It's just, I don't know. I think I liked him a little less than you did character-wise, but I enjoyed all of the special effects of makeup and all of that was
Yeah.
incredible. Like, you could barely tell that it was like extended or that it was something else. It literally looked like it was carved into his head.
Well, maybe this is also my bias towards Willem Dafoe, too, seeing as how much I love him and how much I grew up with him. He was the Green Goblin, for crying out loud. But yeah, exactly to your point. Again, probably the most Tim Burton movie that you've seen in quite some time at the movie theater. Great makeup effects, great practicals, great prosthetics. The visual effects style is really interesting and unlike any other CGI movie that you're going to be seeing. The sandworms are unlike anything you're going to be seeing in Dune 2, that's for sure. The sandworm coming out was so freaking fun, and like you have a lot of really amazing, creative, zany sequences. Tim Burton at his core.
It's very interesting too with the animation, necessarily with the sandworm specifically, but it's just, you can tell it's not supposed to be the highest budget CGI. It's gonna look so realistic. It's Tim Burton. His stuff either looks hyper realistic or it looks like it's like out of place because it comes from a different world.
Yes.
That's the sense I got from all the animation that happened in this film, but it didn't clash. It didn't feel like, wow, that's terrible CGI or anything. It was meant to be there, and it just felt like this out of world, like, I guess animation, but characters. It was so cool to see the difference between the realism of like the people and the humans and then the sandworm just coming out and not looking too realistic, but sticking to like that original sandworm look. They didn't update it with CGI, basically.
No way. This movie it's almost like the original Beetlejuice in a sense as well, where it almost feels like it's an out-of-body experience. It's like you're looking at this thing and it's just so surreal and not visceral, but just so out there and so creative and not unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's a really fun watch, and I think, like, especially with Halloween right around the corner, her favorite holiday no less, and with one of her favorite directors, this is a really good one to check out in theaters. But my biggest issue with Beetlejuice 2 ultimately is the script, not just because of Jenna Ortega's lack of development per se. There's just so much going on. For like less than a 2-hour runtime, oh my gosh, there were at least 7 different movies going on here.
Yeah, I had to leave for the bathroom for a moment, and I come back, and I was probably only gone for maybe, what, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most to get from...
Oh, it wasn't that long.
No, but I come back, and it just felt like the storyline was skipped, and when I asked you what I had missed, I didn't miss much, but I also missed, like, 2 different storylines. So it was very interesting and weird to be like, well, did that happen? No. Did this happen? Yes. And then we got the details confused because we couldn't remember the order in which they happened.
Yeah.
Because it's not that it wasn't consistent. There are different storylines in this. Even though it's like one storyline, one plot line, but different places in that storyline that keep happening with different characters. And so I got back and it wasn't like I completely understood what was happening. But it surprised me that they just jumped to that. Like, I just happened to get there right as they jumped to that scene. So I thought it would connect more. But
yeah.
It was kind of just... And it's not necessarily different plot lines. It's all the same plot. I guess there's, like, 2 plots I would kind of categorize it in. But different characters doing different things within that plot line. And it jumps to where they're at.
And I also want to give credit to Tim Burton and the screenwriters as well for trying to jam-pack as much crazy as possible into one movie. But it's kind of a double-edged sword also because, you know, you want to give all the Tim Burton fanboys and fangirls what they paid their good hard-earned money to see. But then again, at the same time, it also kind of works against it because it's like, okay, where's the actual focus that you want this movie to be on? Do you want it to be on Lydia and Astrid? Do you want it to be on Beetlejuice trying to find his way back into the real world? Do you want it to be on the boy that Astrid is interested in? And that was
I forgot about that.
Yeah, not to spoil anything, but there is a plot twist involving this young boy that Astrid becomes involved with that I didn't see coming.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really clever how it was handled, but it's a twist that's been very famously done in another movie in the past. And trust me, if you see Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, you'll know what I'm talking about and what I'm comparing it to, but I'm not going to spoil anything for the purposes of this video because I want you guys to go see it. But it definitely felt...
It felt short.
The
way they revealed it was great, but that plot line kind of just felt very short to me. It kind of seemed like it was, here's how we're entering the next part of the show, and then we're done.
Yeah, and with as many storylines as you have going on, the story beats honestly felt like they were abruptly ended just because of the short runtime. Like, if you're going to have as many storylines as you possibly can, I respect that Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is an easy watch, and it flies by, absolutely. But, I mean, if you're going to have this many story beats that are thrown into things, I would much rather have a longer runtime and more, like, you know, more opportunities to let it simmer, you know, more opportunities to let the ramifications of what's going on simmer. And I don't really think it's fair to compare this one to the original Beetlejuice in a sense in terms of quality, because I didn't think that original could be topped anyway. I don't think that's very realistic. And I know that, like, Beetlejuice is an acquired taste. Like, not a lot of people enjoy that movie as it is, but I think it's a good chock full of fun. I reviewed that movie my very first year doing the Halloween special, long time ago. And I remember really digging it then. I still dig it to this day. I dig this movie also. I don't know about you.
One of my dad's favorites, the first Beetlejuice, so I didn't grow up with it, but I grew up knowing that it's something that was enjoyed in my family. So once I watched it, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. But I listened to the musical first, so I kept wanting it to be a musical, so it was kind of ruined for me in a way. So having this new movie is great because then I can connect the two together and watch them either together or separately and have it be its own thing instead of the musical kind of getting in the way in my head when I'm watching the original.
So overall, I would say this Legacy sequel is a good chock full of fun for any fan of Tim Burton, any fan of scary stuff, any fan of zany, out-of-this-world shenanigans. You're really going to have a good time with this comedic romp. Michael Keaton is so good in the role once again, but the script does feel a little bit over-convoluted when you really think about it. But with that said, I'm giving Beetlejuice Beetlejuice a B+. How about you? What would you say?
I'm debating between an A- and a B+. I think it just depends on how much you enjoy it's not a franchise, but the franchise. No. Like, if you enjoy Tim Burton, A-. If you don't enjoy Tim Burton that much, but you'll still enjoy the movie, then B+.
Yeah.
Because there's that aspect of knowing you enjoy the director, knowing what vibe to expect. And that's why I personally give it an A-, because I didn't expect it to be as great. I enjoyed it, and I know and can hear all the Danny Elfman music, and I can see all the Tim Burton aspects, but I can also, like, recognize that it's, I don't know, like, the script is good, but it's not the best thing that could have been written.
Yeah, which, by the way, which actually reminds me, don't make this a franchise, Hollywood. Mm-hmm. We're done with this sequel. This is it. Like, you know, you have the first Beetlejuice movie. This movie is called Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Well,
so,
I think based off of the ending, if you know the ending,
yeah,
they set it up to be like a good second movie. They didn't set it up to be like, and wait for the next one. Like, it's a good ending for the type of sequel.
So mad props to them for at least for doing that and not having this be a setup for a third movie, unlike some other Legacy sequels I know. Looking at you, Jurassic World. But yeah, that about does it for our thoughts. Let us know what you thought of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice down in the comments. Thank you again for your patience with me and getting this review out. I wanted to wait until the Tim Burton fan could see it with me. So here we are. We're doing it now. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tap on that thumbs up as well. We're on the Marsha 2000 over here. We would love to have you guys join in the fun over here. It's a good amount of it. And there's a lot more to look forward to because we have a big move coming, don't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this studio behind me is going to look very, very different in the coming month. So it should be, it's an exciting time to be over here on this channel and a good, exciting time to be talking about all things movies and entertainment. But Lindsey, yeah.
And you may or may not see more of me, so sorry if you don't like it, but if you do, hooray!
Yay! Hey, no, everybody loves Lindsey. Come on.
Make sure to like this video and subscribe to him if you like more videos like this. And if you want me to be in more, you know, you can like this and I'll know.
Yeah!